All right. It's here. The long-awaited Kendrick Lamar album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Big Steppers. It's out and it's here, man. And honestly, I'm happy for this album. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, album of the year, this is Kendrick Lamar's best album. I don't want you guys to think that. But I'm happy that this album's out because it's been long awaited. It feels like whenever Kendrick's not in the rap game, and what I mean by that, whenever he's not producing music one every 2 years or so, it feels like whenever LeBron's not in the playoffs, to me at least. That's what it feels like every year that Kendrick is not here. So when this album released, whether it was good or bad, I was just happy that it was out. Now, as far as the album goes, was it mid? In all reality, just joking. I know it wasn't mid. It wasn't bad either. But was it great? I don't really know. Now, the reason why I like Kendrick Lamar so much is not only does he paint a story for you, and not only does he use probably the best words in terms of trying to show or trying to make the listener understand whether it's a situation or a statement or how he feels, understand what he truly means, is that he's able to do that over these amazing beats with amazing flows, and it's usually very catchy. Whenever you go back and you look, Section 80, super catchy songs on there. Same thing with Good Kid, Mad City, and Damn. But with this new album, I don't think I can say the same. Now, I don't want people to twist my words in saying I only like songs that go hook, verse, hook, or any sort of, pattern. It's not the pattern that I like. It's more, I am able to not only understand his music and not necessarily where he's coming from, but understand it, at least the way he's portraying it. But I'm also able to sing along, or I'm able to bop my head. With this new album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, it's hard for me to even do any of that. I'm also not saying that there aren't songs on this new album that you're able to do that to, or there's not songs in this album that doesn't have a pattern. That's not what I'm trying to get at. What I'm trying to get at realistically is that this album, a lot of it almost seems like spoken word, in a sense that there's not really a pattern going on, but the story is magnificent, right? And that's what makes this hard for me to judge this album that Kendrick released, is because it's poetry. It's there's so many good messages in here. There's so many well-written verses, well-written hooks by Kendrick, and well-sung hooks by the featured artists that he got on here, like Sampha. There's a bunch of songs on here that I do like, but as much as I hate to do it, like compared to his previous albums, his studio albums, not including Untitled, but Damn, Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, and Section 80, all those albums had, I guess, a continuity of the tracks that allowed me to bop my head, sing to it, and still understand the song. With this one, it's spoken word, it's poetry, and it's still beautiful, but the replay value on this album, I feel like, is very low. Just to name a few tracks, songs like N95, Die Hard, Father Time, and Savior have a lot of replay value. I could see myself putting that on in the car. I can see myself putting that on in my house while I'm doing laundry or whatever it may be. I can even see myself choosing a couple of these songs, maybe like Savior or N95, and maybe playing it at a function, whether that be a big party or a kickback or whatnot. But as for the rest of these songs on the album, I just uh, obviously I didn't name all the songs that I would replay, but most of the or some of these songs on the album I'm probably not going to go back to. And if I do go back to it, it's to re-listen or to dissect or to learn more about certain situations. Like the song that Kendrick had, We Cry Together with Taylor Page. It's a beautiful song, and it shows kind of the toxic masculinity that can be in relationships, and how things from your past can cause this, and how men don't really take enough responsibility for certain things, and they don't treat women how they probably should. It seems like a very one-sided relationship, and not to say that she isn't saying some things that are off kilter, but he's also saying those same things, and it's, again, a beautiful, beautiful song, but I'm not going to play this song. Like, I'm going to be scaring all the bitches away. Like, why would I play this song in any setting unless it's by myself and it's to re-listen to the story? Because essentially most of these songs that I don't have that much replay value, it's not that it's not good or it's not beautiful. It's a piece of art, but it's not something I'm going to put on while I'm in the shower. It's something I'm going to play just in the car. It's very, not necessarily harsh, but it's a lot to take in. And as a listener, it's not something I want to think about while I'm driving or while I'm doing whatever it may be. But if I took the time to sit down and listen to a track, I can probably come to appreciate these tracks more, even though I feel as if they have no replay value. Maybe this is an album that grows on me with time. Maybe 2 years from now, I'm going to be like, I can't believe I was saying this about this album because it's so fucking good. But who knows? We'll see where it takes me at the end of that road. Now, do I think this is a bad album? No. Do I think it's a mid album? No, I don't think it's mid album. I'm not on Twitter tweeting that. I just think it's a good album. Is it a great album? I don't know. I feel like it has potential, maybe with time, but maybe Kendrick's just ahead of the curve. But as of right now, I just can't really say it's a great album. I think it's a good album. I think it has great think pieces and amazing poetry, verses, and ideas that Kendrick is putting out on mainstream. And I feel, and I do like that he chose this idea for an album, because he's one of those artists that, you know, people are just going to gravitate towards and listen to regardless of what he's talking about. So whenever you have that sort of power to inform the public about certain situations or maybe certain problems that need addressing, I feel like this is a great album to do that. But at the same time, there's a lot of songs on here that don't really have a lot of replay value for me. Of course, that could change over time, but we'll just have to see. And again, Kendrick did not fall off with this album. If anybody in God's green earth is thinking that, that's not the case. Kendrick is still Kendrick, and I'd rather him do this than an album that's just a rendition of one of his older ones, because I feel like as artists, you should evolve. Your album shouldn't continuously have the same sound. Now, are there artists out there that do that and it works? Yes, of course. But whenever I'm listening to those artists, I'm going to them for that sound. And it's not all the time. But whenever your discography, for instance, like Kanye, whenever your discography is very different from album to album to album, it brings more variety. It makes me want to listen to you more, and it enables me to add more songs to different playlists so I can continue listening to you. And so we'll just have to see where Kendrick goes after this. He did say this was going to be his last studio album with TDE. I don't necessarily think that means he's going to retire. I feel like there's more out there for Kendrick to make. But I don't know how long it's going to be. It might be another 5 years. We're just going to have to see. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'd rather an artist take off for 5 years and give us the best he has than an artist continuously releasing music every single year, and a lot of it feels like throwaways, or it feels like they could have done better on a song. So overall, I like the production on this album a lot. I feel like this is Kendrick Lamar's best produced album, and what I mean by that is not necessarily like these are the beats that I wanted to hear, but sonically it sounds amazing, and it brings a lot to the table. And every single one of these songs, Kendrick's voice is crisp, and I like that whenever I'm listening to music. So that was really good. Again, the ideas were amazing. I just think that maybe his flows could have been better, which is crazy to say because it's fucking Kendrick Lamar. But whenever I'm listening to it, I'm hearing the words he's saying, I'm processing them. It's very hard for me to jive and listen to his music or some of the songs on Mr. Morale, because it's just not something that has kind of a sort of that pattern that I was talking about. It's just not, I'm not able to listen and enjoy. It's usually I'm listening and I'm learning, or I'm listening and I'm grasping what he's saying. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a very good album, but that's not my cup of tea. That's not my favorite cup of tea. Do I order that sometimes? Yeah, of course, but that's not my go-to every single time. So we'll see again where Kendrick ends up throughout all this, because I know it's going to get plays, and I know the streams are going to be good. Are they going to be as good as Damn? Probably not. But I do think that Kendrick is still climbing up. I don't think this was a step back. I think he experimented a lot, and that's what I like. And so, again, we'll see where this takes us. I enjoyed the Kendrick album. It wasn't what I was expecting, and it wasn't the best version of Kendrick, I feel, in terms of what I like in music. But, we'll see where he takes us.